What's up guys, James from SIKKY Manufacturing. On our fourth and final episode of our FRS LS swap build series, I'm going to get you caught up to speed on everything that's happened since last time, and also my favorite part, we're going to do the road test. So let's get started. So as you can see, this engine fits like a glove in here. I'll be honest, I think it fits better than the OEM engine. Couldn't be happier with everything the way it turned out. Like I said, there was a couple products and things that we designed, little solutions here and there just to make this swap that much easier. As you can see, we've got some green lines here on the brake line. So in order to get enough header clearance where we felt it was safe, where the factory brake lines are routed right up where the collector comes. So we developed a really simple little brake line kit that allows you to relocate the factory brake lines and eliminate the hard lines from down below the header up to here. I'll show you in a sec. So this really simple line kit, very inexpensive, allows you to route these in a direction that keeps them away from the heat of the header and just makes it really safe and simple. So I'll get this up in the air and show you what it looks like from the bottom. Alright, so as you can see, this block is normally mounted right up behind here, and the route of the actual factory brake lines goes right up next to this collector. I mean, there's literally a 1/16 of an inch, if that. Not saying you couldn't leave it there, but I just don't think it's a good idea. So we wanted to relocate this, so simply just grabbing this simple block here, and you can thread the factory lines out of this side, but grab this block with a pair of pliers. You literally take it and twist it and manipulate these metal lines up out of the way, and then the self-tapper screw, we tapped it right in here to the side of the subframe. And as you can see, the lines that we provide with the fittings thread right in here and hook up, and you can route this like we did up along the engine block, well out of the way of the headers, and then up to the ABS pump. So really simple install, just a quick little trick that we found that works great, and will make your life easier when you're LS swapping this car. Alright, as you can see, we routed the lines up right here, well out of the way of the headers. The kit comes with the fittings you need for this end as well, so you thread those adapters in and then attach the SIKKY lines. Simple as that. As you can see here, we also designed a clutch master cylinder adapter. Now this will work for LS swaps or 2Js or anything you're swapping in here, even if you're just upgrading your factory FRS, but we'll show another video on that in the future. But it's made to accept the Wilwood master cylinder kits. So we're going to put it together as a complete kit with the Wilwood master cylinder, the lines, and all the fittings you need for the LS as well as the other swap options in this chassis. So it will also work with Tilton, but we wanted to make sure it would work with the less expensive Wilwood master cylinder options that are out there. Nothing wrong with Tilton, but it is a little more expensive, and to be honest, we think the Wilwood is more than enough of a master cylinder for this setup. So pretty neat little system. Drops the master cylinder back into the firewall and gives you enough clearance at the back of the cylinder head to have enough room to hook up the line to the master cylinder. Alright, so here you can see the SIKKY headers look absolutely beautiful once they got some heat on them. The stainless obviously starts to turn. But one thing to note, look how much spark plug clearance we've got on the SIKKY headers. There is about 1.5 inches on all sides. So what that means is you don't have to worry about melting plug wires and stuff like that, which are common with some lesser quality swap headers out there. So one of those things to note, you get what you pay for, and these headers fit absolutely beautifully. Another thing we came up with this swap is a new shorty style straight intake and filter setup. This isn't a production model. The normal ones will have a powder coat on them, but this is pre-production. But basically we've got this LS3 style that gets the card style mass airflow sensor, as well as like your LS1 style LS2 that has the mass airflow sensor that mounts on the end, then the filter. But for now, we just got done this one, and it should be up on the site shortly. Alright, as you can see, we made a custom one-off stainless steel header back exhaust system for this thing. Turned out amazing. Obviously with the FRS, the chassis itself wasn't really designed for a dual exhaust, so it's a bit of a fitment challenge getting big 3-inch exhaust pipes all the way back. But once you get past the transmission, there's a lot of room, but we did tuck it up in here as best we can. Obviously you want to make sure ground clearance is optimal. Either way, it turned out awesome. Sounds absolutely beautiful, so I'm sure you guys want to hear that. So let's check that out here in a sec. Now another awesome thing about this project is we were able to work with a company called Wiring Specialties to helped them develop a CAN bus system that would allow the GM ECU to communicate with the factory FRS BRZ gauge cluster, which means all the factory features work absolutely perfect. So your fuel gauge, your electric power steering, your temp gauge, speedo, tachometer. I mean, this car literally starts up and runs and has all the same factory features that it would regardless if it was LS swapped or whatever you got going on. So pretty amazing. Kind of the cherry on top of a build like this. So allows you to get in it and drive it and use it like a daily driver, and super reliable gauge readouts the way they're supposed to be, and we couldn't be happier with how it turned out. One of the final pieces of any of our turnkey builds is the dyno tuning. That ensures the computer's tune is set up ideal for this particular engine. In this case, the cylinder heads are upgraded. It's got an upgraded cam. You can probably hear that the way this thing's idling. Absolute monster. So we're gonna get this thing on the dyno, get it all dialed in perfect, and then once that's done, we get to do the fun part, do a little test driving. Alright guys, as you can see, we put the FRS on the scales behind us here just to see what this thing weighs in comparison to factory FRS or BRZ. So we got the LS3 in the front of this car, all the SIKKY goodies, so let's check it out on the scales. Total weight 2862 with a cross weight of 49.4, which is damn near perfect. So pretty awesome. That big of a motor in here. So we got that large of a motor in this car, yet able to maintain almost a 50% cross weight, and 2,862 pounds, isn't much more than what the stock is. I think they say 27 to 28, depending on how it's packaged or outfitted. So pretty amazing, awesome weight distribution, which probably why this thing handles and feels so good when you're driving around on the road. So check it out. Alright guys, my favorite part of any build, the road test. So we're going to take this thing out, put it through its paces, and see what it's all about. But safety first. Obviously it doesn't sound much like an FRS. Like the engine idle and just the roughness of it with the cam that it's got in it, it's literally shaking the car, which is cool. It's a good shake. It's not like a rattle, but it's like literally the whole car is going like this with the motor. So pretty amazing feel right off the bat. electric power steering was kept intact. The factory electric power steering, I mean, it feels like butter. I mean, you'd never know this car was swapped other than the exhaust note, so probably the best part so far. All right, so the main thing we set out to, complete with this build in the beginning was OEM like engine placement and just maintaining as much as we can as far as like the creature comforts that you would want in any build. So luckily it looks like we've achieved all that. This car is probably the best driving LS swap car I've ever driven, and I've driven a lot, so it's pretty strong statement. I think a lot of that has to do with the engine mount design itself and the amount of time we put into developing the kit and the engineering that went behind it. But everything's fully isolated, so there's no loud rattles or anything crazy like that. I mean, you could daily drive this car if you wanted to. This particular customer went with a really loud exhaust system, but you could tone it down if you wanted to kind of like, creep around with it and not attract too much attention. But as you'll hear in a sec here, we'll do like a second gear roll, and not only is it quite loud, but it does not get any grip. So this thing makes a little over 500 to the wheels, if I remember correctly, and pretty substantial power compared to stock, and the torque's ridiculous, so it's like instantaneous. I mean, you could just about be rolling in any gear and romp on it and things gonna light them up. So makes for a fun car. It'd be great to get this thing out on a track and really open it up, but we're limited to these public streets, so we got to keep it safe. All right, let's do a second gear roll here. Yeah, it's a rocket ship. Obviously these tires are, they're not bad, but they're definitely not what you would put on something if you're trying to get a little extra grip. So alright, that was no grip, so yeah. Luckily I have a little experience getting sideways, but I would be a little concerned if somebody's never driven rear wheel drive and then all of a sudden jumps behind the wheel on this thing and wants to, get a little spirited behind the wheel, because you do need to know what you're doing with this much power. Cool thing is too, the gear ratio worked out awesome with this thing. So it is a T56 Magnum transmission in here, and with the FRS factory gearing in the rear, it's great. I mean, you can drive this thing highway. I mean, we're going to get on the highway here in a sec just to give you kind of an idea of what it feels like, at speed and what kind of RPMs you're running. But great for daily driving, but yet it makes so much torque low end that you can still have some fun with the lower gears. So most LS swap cars, like first gear is virtually useless as it is, just because there's literally no grip. So I mean, you can pretty much start in second gear from the street light and be fine. All right, let's do a fourth gear pull on here. So we're doing, call it 50. Sorry
right there.
Oh.
Woo!
We'll pipe it down a little bit.
Pipe it down.
So the culmination of this whole project's pretty awesome. It's a good feeling to have this car on the road, driving in and doing everything we intended for it to do when we set out on this project. You know, all you guys that saw episode 1, we pretty much checked all the boxes and then some on this build, so couldn't be happier. And you know, the best part is now everybody else out there that wants to do this swap to their car can get the SIKKY parts, and it's literally a bolt-on swap that fits, I would say, is a better engine than, you know, Subaru or Toyota had in mind when they put the boxer motor in. I mean, obviously it's like oil and water mixing Chevy and Toyota, but either way, way better combination. The other cool thing is, like, the V8, you would think, all right, I want to put this heavy motor in the front of the car and it's going to change the balance. The reality is it's not that bad. I mean, I can't even tell the difference. So we did take some time, you know, with consideration with the engine placement and the scales and stuff like that, like we showed you. The weight distribution's phenomenal. So it's not nose heavy. It's pretty nimble. It feels great. It's got good weight transfer. I mean, the suspension on this thing's nothing like crazy either. I'm sure, you know, in a competition format, or say you're drifting with the car, you could probably do all kinds of wonders with the suspension. But for what we're doing with it, it's not bad at all, and not even noticeable. I mean, I would say if there was any downside, it's just the noise. And you know, what the hell, if you're gonna do all this, like, why not enjoy it and listen to that big old V8 rumble?
What would you say to people that are thinking about doing this themselves? Is it on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? And is this something that, you know, you have to have a decent amount of technical knowledge to do?
Yeah. Alright, so for those of you out there watching this video that have an FRS or BRZ, or maybe plan on getting one to do the LS swap, it's actually a pretty simple installation thanks to the parts that we engineered at SIKKY. The whole point behind all of our products is to be a swap solution, not just, hey, here's some motor mounts, good luck with everything else. You know, we like to give you as much components as possible. And this is a fairly new build, so we're going to continue to release more and more products for all the different systems that you're going to deal with when you're swapping this motor. Yeah, so basically a backyard mechanic could do this swap. I mean, if you have zero mechanical knowledge, I wouldn't recommend trying it, but it's not like bolting an intake on. But if you can change an engine in any car, you can do this swap. It's that simple. There's no cutting or welding. A lot of the other kits out there require you to modify the front core support and the radiator. We specifically wanted to avoid that, and which is why we ended up with like the lowest and furthest back engine placement of any manufacturer on the market. So, which is another bonus for center of gravity. You know, keeping that center of gravity as low as possible is going to help just handling and, you know, using it on the track or taking it through the twisties or whatever you might do with it. So, either way, if you can't handle the swap yourself, but you really want to get it done, we have a turnkey swap service, which we basically take care of everything, deliver you a car that's running, driving, ready to rock and enjoy. So it takes all the worry and the, you know, the dealing with trying to figure things out, or what should I do here, what should I do there. We've been swapping LSs for over 20 years, so we've done it all, and you know, we have that service to help you guys out that don't want to attempt it yourself, or you know, deal with a shop that maybe hasn't done it before, and some of the nightmares that can be involved there. So if you're not local to us, no big deal. We have a transportation service, so we can scoop your car up. Doesn't matter where you are. We even ship cars in outside of the US, so whatever you want to do, we can source it. We can source a car, you know, whatever the situation. But wow, what an amazing car. I couldn't be happier with how this thing turned out. I mean, it's just an absolute monster. So hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys want a little bit more information, we acquired our own FRS, so we're going to be shooting a step-by-step install guide. So make sure you like, subscribe, and don't miss the next video. Check you guys later.